What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing you guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a mid-fade on my boy, so stay tuned. We started off with our GoToFX, creating our first guideline contouring to his head shape. You always want to make sure you contour your first guideline to their head shape so the fade can flow better. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to our foreguard all the way closed and debulk the top. Now that we're done debulking the top with our foreguard, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You want to make sure you make this guideline around 1 inch thick so you can spread the blend. Now that we're done setting in our second guideline, we can move on to the one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We are stacking our guards, so make sure you go right above it. Now that we're done setting in our first 3 guidelines, we can move back to our no guard all the way open and slightly close the lever to help us remove our initial guideline. It's always best to stretch the skin with your opposite hand to give you more room to blend. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to the one guard all the way closed and begin to erase our third guideline. Using the one guard all the way closed and midway will help you soften up this line and get it ready for the half guard. Now that we're done softening up the line with the one guard, we can move on to the half guard and erase the line completely. This is going to connect the one guard all the way open to the no guard all the way open. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Moving on to our 2 guard all the way open, we're going to create our 4th guideline. This is going to help us blend into the bulk. We're also going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get it ready for the 1.5 guard. Now that we're done softening up the line with the 2 guard, we can move on to the 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Sometimes there's still a faint line after using your 1.5 guard, so moving on to your 1 guard all the way open and using its corners will definitely help. Now we're moving on to our 3 guard all the way open, and this is going to smooth out the parietal ridge area, and this is going to help us blend into the 4 on top. Here we're detailing with our no guard all the way open and using our corners. Here we're detailing as much as possible with our no guard all the way open and our 1.5 guard all the way open. Using the one guard all the way open to detail is very important, especially when you use the corners. Now we're heading back to a 4 guard all the way closed, and we're gonna make sure everything's nice and even on the top. We're also gonna run over the parietal ridge area just to make sure it's nice and smooth and no hairs are sticking out. Here we're using our previous guards to detail as much as possible using our corners. Moving on to the back side, we're starting off with our no guard all the way open, creating our second guideline. We're then going to slightly close the lever and blend out our initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to the 1 guard all the way open and create our third guideline. Again, we are near the occipital bone, so you want to be careful and make sure you detail as much as possible. The reason why you gotta spend more time here near the occipital bone because the hair is more dense, and also the occipital bone does make some spots look a little bit darker than they actually are. Now that the line is soft enough with the 1 guard, we can move on to the half guard and erase the line completely. We are using its corners as much as possible just to detail. Moving on to our 2 guard all the way open, we're creating our 4th guideline, and this is right above the occipital bone. We're going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get it ready for the 1.5 guard. Since we're done softening up the line, we can move on to the 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Now we're moving on to the 3 guard all the way open, and again we're going to smooth out the parietal ridge and then blend into the 4 guard on top. Moving on to the hairline, we're going to use our Gold FX to make them as crispy as possible. We're again going to start off at the middle and work our way to the sides. He does have a little bit of a widow's peak, so we're going to make sure we push it back just a little bit, but not too much where it looks crazy. His hair does go to the side and curls, so you want to make sure you're hitting it at a certain angle and certain way that the hair feeds into the trimmer without you pressing too hard. Moving on to his sideburns, we're starting off with our no guard all the way open, and we're going to create our first guideline, slightly closing the lever, erasing our initial guideline. We're then going to use the 1 guard all the way open to create our third guideline and also blend into the 1.5 guard. Now we're using the 1.5 guard to help us blend into the 2 guard all the way open. Heading on over to the neckline, you want to make sure not to press too hard because you could bite them with the teeth of the trimmer because the skin area is very thin. And the blade glide a little bit easier. When you're using the razor, you want to stretch the skin as much as possible and keep the razor at a 45-degree angle, because if not, you have a higher chance of cutting them. Also, if the client could take against the grain, you want to make sure you do go against the grain because it will make the lineups pop a little bit more. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe is greatly appreciated. Also, if you made it this far into the video, please leave a comment down below. I'm 100% gonna reply to it. This is a little test to see who's actually watching the video full out and through. Drop a comment of my subscriber count down below. I want to see what happens. What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a high taper on my boy, so stay tuned. We're starting off at the back taper using our Goat FX to create our first guideline. Remember, you want to create this guideline contouring to their head shape. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to the top and use our foreguard to debulk. Now that we're done debulking the top, we can move back to the taper and use our no guard all the way open to create our second guideline. You want to make sure you make this guideline around 1 inch thick so you can spread the blend. Now we're going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way close to help us erase that initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to the one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. Remember, we're going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get it ready for the half guard. Now that we're done softening up the line with the one guard, we can move on to the half guard and erase the line completely. Now that we're done with our lower guards, we can move on to the two guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. This is going to help us blend into the bulk. We're going to use the lever to soften up the line and get it ready for the 1.5 guard. Now that we're done softening up the line with the 2 guard, we can move on to the 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. We are near the occipital bone, so you want to make sure you spend more time here in detail. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now we're moving on to our 3 guard all the way open, and this is going to blend into the 4 guard that we used on top. Here we're detailing as much as possible, and now we're switching over to the 4 guard all the way closed to make sure everything's nice and even. Now that we're done making sure everything is nice and even, we can move on to the neckline and use our Goat FX to make them as crispy as possible. When lining it up, I always start off at the bottom and work my way to the top arch using its corners, going slow enough that the hair feeds into the trimmer. You want to be very careful not to press too hard here because the skin is very thin and you could bite them. Now that we're done lining up the back of the ear, we can move on to our Goat FX and create our first guideline. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. Remember to slightly close the lever to blend out that initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to the one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We're going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get it ready for the half guard. Now that we're done softening up the line, we're moving on to the half guard and erasing the line completely. Moving on to the 2 guard all the way open, we're going to create our fourth guideline and get this ready for the 1.5 guard. The 1.5 guard is going to help us connect the 2 to the 1 guard all the way open. Here we're detailing as much as possible with our previous guards. I went back to the ear line to make it more crispy, because once I was done fading, it revealed a few lines. Now we're heading back to the temple taper and we're making sure we detail as much as possible with our corners. Here we're using the 1 guard all the way open. Now we're moving on to a 4 guard all the way open and we're going to knock down the beard. After this, we're going to start with the no guard all the way open and start to blend in the sideburns. As you can see here, I'm using my opposite hand to stretch the skin as much as possible, and I'm slightly closing the lever to blend out that initial guideline. Here I'm debulking with the 1.5 guard all the way open, which is equivalent to a 2 guard closed. Now we're moving on to our Goat FX and we're going to line up the front of the ear, aka the back of the neck. Now we're moving on to our Goat FX and we're going to line up the back of the beard. You want to make sure not to take it too in because it will look unnatural. Moving on to his front hairline, we're going to start off at the middle and work our way to the sides. Remember, you want to make sure you go slow and make sure the hair feeds into the trimmer, because if not, then it won't line up properly. Make sure not to dig too deep into the corner, it will make it look unnatural. I'm starting to see that a lot more and it looks very weird. Now we're heading back to the middle and connecting it to the right side. Always make sure to use your comb to lay the hair down and then reline it up. Again, you want to make sure your vertical bars are as natural as possible, because if not, it won't look right. Before we move on to the blade, we're going to finish up the beard and make sure it's as crispy as possible. With very curly hair, you want to make sure the hair feeds into the trimmer, because if not, you're going to struggle. Now that we're done lining up the beard, we can move on to our Turkish razor Derby Premium blades and make them as crispy as possible. Remember to always apply shave gel to make the skin as smooth as possible. When using the razor, you also want to stretch the skin as much as possible while keeping the blade at a 45-degree angle so you don't cut them. Always ask before you go against the grain if the client can take against the grain. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe is greatly appreciated. Also, leave a comment down below, especially if you made it this far into the video, because I'm definitely going to reply to it.